Hi, everybody. I hope you can see what I see. I am looking at my script for Module 2 highlights. Thank you for participating in the MOOC. I'm very thrilled. This week we have doubled the number of posts in our discussion boards. We had over 1,000 of you posting in the discussion boards, contributing your knowledge, letting us know what you have picked up from this course. And I really appreciate those of you who are putting the links in to the videos. I have a lot of homework to do. I would like to kind of go through all these links and pick up some of the highlights and put them in the bonus module that will unlock at the end of the course. So, one of the big highlights for me this week was this TED video, and I apologize, I do not know who contributed this, but I looked at it and I thought it was so cool. This is a TED Ed lesson, which is a PSA in Spanish. It was produced in Mexico. And as the kids watch the video, they answer these questions. They're told to turn the volume completely down. So it's kind of like the opposite of what we did in our listening module, where the kids have to talk about what they're learning from just the visuals. And as you go through all of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there's different activities. It was very cool. I'm thrilled. I also really liked Judy Richter's post, and let me see if I have Judy here. Yep. Who brought up this TED Talk graphic organizer that I thought was very cool and wanted to share with you. I apologize for my slow bandwidth. Here it is. It's a nice big graphic organizer. Like if you use the TED Talks during your classroom and you want the kids to take some notes, this gives them really guided practice in how to take notes and keep track of what's important during the talk. So I also wanted to comment on another great post from our friend Allison Castro. And Allison is, I'm sure, enrolled in a doctoral program. If she is not, she should, because she just continues to really write an extensive amount of information on the discussion board posts, and it's all great. She's definitely applying the knowledge she's learning from the class. And Allison, if you're listening, I drove by your high school today. I drive by it almost every time I bring my kids ice skating at Pickwick Gardens. I hope, since we meet in the same town, I get to meet you at a SoCal Social Studies event or an LAQ meeting this year. I'm very impressed with your learning in the course. So, next I want to talk about Kid President. 66 of you have posted. 65 of you, 66 have posted in the discussion board, yet only 65 watched the video and only 29 completed all of the questions. I just want to call your attention to this because I have a SurveyMonkey link embedded in this video. And I'm planning on using the data from that SurveyMonkey to validate the PV-Legs rubric that we have introduced in this course. So far, only 20 of you have taken that survey. I'd like to have about 50 people complete it. And then I want to report back the number of people that have exact agreement and adjacent agreement, and I will talk more about that in a subsequent lecture. The good news is I am going to make this PV-Legs digital rubric available to all the course participants. At the end of the course, I have a Google Forms version and a SurveyMonkey version. I have tested this with my students. It's very effective. Eric also has a PDF copy available on the PV-Legs website. So, next point I wanted to make was Aslan had a really good point on the discussion board. And what he said after he watched the Kid President video was that listening for life, the first question, and listening for images, the third question, required more focus and attention from the viewer than the second task, which was just determining how the music affected the tone of the video. I thought this was very insightful, and I wanted to hear more of Aslan's rationale for saying this. So I'm sure, Aslan, next time, please elaborate. Please tell me why you think it was easier to listen for the sound than the life and the images. I'm sure there's a hierarchy or taxonomy of listening skills, but I don't know what that is, and I can't believe I have a bad typo in my script. So next up, Athena and Maureen were both confused by this discussion board question that said, first, think of the 4 questions good listeners ask themselves. And I understand why you're confused by that, because in an earlier draft, Eric had talked about these 4 questions. When students engage in purposeful listening, how do they know what to listen to? How do you teach them what to respond to, how to respond, or when to respond? But then later on, when he actually shot his video, he condensed those into 2 questions because he's mindful of his audience and he thinks about his audience before he records things. It's a very key thing in the ACOVA framework. So I'm sorry for the confusion. This was totally my fault. I should have edited the discussion question, and I totally dropped the ball. And this also makes me worry about this other groups feature that seems to be confusing people and alarmed Maureen. And I've decided that it's just too much for my feeble brain. I'm not going to add it or use it in this course. So I apologize if I've confused anyone. Next, I enjoyed hearing all the sounds you listened to in the Listen Current discussion. The rain, the early morning bird songs, a bat on a baseball, setting silverware and plates on a table. It really made me realize how important visual imagery is in our speaking and listening instruction. I also appreciated all the efforts of the people who included the rubrics in this listening rubrics in our last discussion board. I'm going to try and compile a set of them in a Google folder that I can share with everybody that you can make copies of, and I'll stuff that into the growing bonus module. Coming up next in Module 3, we dive into improving student speaking. There is an article based on your grade level. So I had divided up groups into elementary ed, middle school, high school, and higher ed. And so you can pick whatever your grade level is and just read that article. Then there's also a quiz on another article and 3 discussion boards that allow you to demonstrate how you are going to apply this learning with your classes next year. Again, thanks so much for participating in the MOOC. We look forward to seeing you on the discussion boards next week.